sixth time in 8 seasons after seizing a 3-0 series lead over the Mavs in the West Finals. Teams to take a 3-0 series lead have an all-time series record of 146-0. The Warriors continue to dominate in the third. Golden State, led by Steph Curry's 31-point effort. Curry has already scored 30-plus points 7 times this postseason. Michael Jordan and LeBron James are the only players with that many 30-point games in a single postseason at age 34 or older. MJ and LeBron both won Finals MVPs in the season they did this. JJ back here with us. The Warriors, are they still looking like clear frontrunners, Stephen?
I wouldn't use the word clear, but they're frontrunners as far as I'm concerned, because I think that when you look at the Boston Celtics, there's a level of inconsistency. That's about it. When I look at the Warriors, I think about experience. I think about shooting. I think about, you know, the way they share, the selflessness, the way they share the basketball, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, right now, don't get me wrong, the Boston Celtics have made me nervous, very, very nervous, because when they amp up their defensive pressure, I mean, they are something to behold, and we know what they can do offensively when they get rolling. So obviously, if this ends up being the Warriors versus the Celtics, I think it would be an incredible NBA Finals to look forward to. But right now, as nervous as I can be about it, I'm still holding on to the Warriors being that team to beat in the NBA.
Yeah, I have no problem with them being the front runners for the championship, either through Vegas or through prognosticators. I have no issue with that. I get it, but I look at each individual matchup in the playoffs, because matchups matter so much in the playoffs. And when I think about what the Warriors have done to the Mavericks, they've exposed that they don't have any rim protection. They've attacked Luka relentlessly, using his man as a screener. They're scoring about 1.16 points per possession on that. That's basically league equivalent of a top 5 offense in the NBA. When we talk about the 2 teams left in the Eastern Conference, the Heat and the Celtics, those problems that the Mavs have, they don't have those problems. They have rim protection. Both those teams inherently switch most of the stuff. Now, the Warriors on-ball switching is different, or their movement is different. So switching off-ball is different than switching on-ball, but they're used to switching. There's also, on both those teams, really no guys you can really target, specifically with the Celtics as well. Pritchard, obviously, in Game 1 against the Heat, was targeted in the 4th quarter by Jimmy Butler a number of times. But in their normal closing lineup, assuming they are healthy, there's no guys that you can just target as the guy being used as the screener. So I think about Bam. I think about Al Horford. You know, the wing defenders of the Celtics, the wing defenders of the Heat. Like, these are tough matchups. These are tough matchups for the Warriors. Whoever it is that comes out of the East is going to give them a great series. And I also think that the teams in the East are a little more battle-tested this season. Obviously, the Warriors, their core group is very battle-tested. They are champions through and through. They are champions. But specifically with what Boston has had to go through, and if they do end up beating the Miami Heat, having to beat Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, having to beat Giannis and the Bucks, having to now beat this Heat team that's basically a mirror image of them, I just think it's going to be a very interesting and tough finals for the Warriors. And they're more than capable of winning, but in my eyes, they're not the front runner. They are not the front runner. They have a chance to win the championship, but I think the team in the East is a tough matchup for them.
Listen, I think that if the Warriors ended up meeting the Celtics in the finals, this is a pick'em series. That's how deep I think this goes, because of how Boston plays defense. And what I saw Boston do against them in that second game in Golden State in the regular season, albeit it was the regular season, I still pay attention to that. But also, I would say this to you. I don't consider Miami and Boston a mirror image of one another. I want to be very, very clear about that. I think that when you look at Boston with the trifecta that is Brown, Tatum, and Smart, I think it's a little bit different in Miami, because I think there's a precipitous drop-off from Jimmy Butler, at least in the postseason. Not regular season numbers, but at least in the postseason. Even though Bam Adebayo stepped up and did what he did, Tyler Hero, for example, he's the reigning 6th man of the year. He's been struggling miserably in this series. Can't hit anything, you know, as far as I'm concerned. He's got to step up. I think so. I think when you look at Butler and what you get from Struss and Butler, that's obviously something. I think that when you're talking about all the parts around those guys, I get where you're coming from. I'm just talking, I think that Boston's got 2 guys in Tatum and Brown, and Miami only has 1, and that's why I don't consider them necessarily a mirror.